I'm here to say to my colleagues that though we're going to go through a very expedited process of voting on two options on student loans, I want to urge my colleagues to take this seriously. This has a huge financial impact on families across this country, and I say families because we're focused on the students. In many cases, it's the parents taking out loans, and the truth is that under one option today, parents are left out. You see, the debate on this floor today is over two bills. One, offered by my friends in the majority, which would extend a 3.4% interest rate on subsidized Stafford loans. That's 39% of all the student loans taken out. It doesn't speak to the 61% that are still under the 6.8% rate. It's parents, it's students that take out unsubsidized Stafford loans. They're still at 6.8%. But more importantly, you need to look at the financial sustainability of the program. When this was originally enacted in 2006, the campaign rhetoric was, we're going to drastically cut student loans for everybody, until they realized how much it was going to cost. And then they limited it to subsidized Stafford loans. And when the authorization for that runs out, we have this debate about whether we're going to extend a 3.4% student loan rate. We just forget to tell everybody it's for a subsection of everybody that's taken out student loans. So let me suggest to you that the other option today will be to put student loans on a financial firm footing, something that we can certify for the future it's financially sustainable, not just for the students and for their parents, but for the American taxpayer. They should have a voice in this. So what Ranking Member Alexander, Senator Coburn, and myself have introduced is a comprehensive piece of legislation that ties the rate of student loan borrowing to the rate of the 10-year bond in May of that year. So this past month, we would take the rate of the 10-year bond, which was about 1.79%. You would add 3% to it, and for the next year, the rate for everybody taking out student loans would be 4.79%. Some members of the Senate can add. And for the next 12 months, anybody that took out a student loan would be at 4.79%. Not some at 3.4, not the rest at 6.8. And that 4.79% would be a fixed rate for the life of the loan. It wouldn't go away in 12 months and have to be renegotiated based upon what the will of Congress was and the legislative mandate of what the interest rate was going to be. And every year that somebody went, whether it was a parent, whether it was a non-subsidized Stafford or a subsidized Stafford, whatever that May establishment of the 10-year bond rate was, you would add 3% to it. It would be very predictable. You wouldn't be at the whim of, is Congress going to extend this? Now, let me predict to you. I know what we're going to do. We're going to have two options up today. Neither one of them is going to get 60 votes. It means it's not going to pass. And the day before, or 2 days before the expiration of the 3.4% rate, people are going to rush the floor and say, we can't let this happen. Mr. President, we've got an opportunity to fix it on a permanent basis, to say to parents, to say to those that are in the non-subsidized Stafford, and yet to those in the subsidized Stafford, we're putting this on financially sound ground. And we're going to do it in a transparent way that lets you know every May exactly what you can borrow money for your college education could be. And some might conclude, well, if you borrow every year for 4 years, you're going to have different rates. You're right. And the reality is that in this bill, you've got an option at any point that you choose to do it to consolidate those loans at a guaranteed 8.5%. So if it's more attractive to have 4 different packages of loans with lower interest rates, or the blend of them might be higher, you can consolidate them and take a guaranteed rate. Now, I heard my good friend quote the Congressional Research Service. They came out with an analysis of the two pieces of legislation last night. And they came to this conclusion, that for the subsidized Stafford loans, the Alexander Burr Coburn proposal was not very different than what my friends on the other side presented. But for everybody else, for the 61%, it saved them $80 a month. Let me say that again. For everybody else that's not in the subsidized Stafford loans, the Congressional Research Office said, our bill saves parents and students that are in the non-subsidized student loan program $80 a month. It's almost $1,000 a year. This is real money. This is what Congress should pay attention to. But let me suggest to you this. Congress shouldn't be sitting in Washington deciding with a dartboard, here's what the student loan rate's going to be this year. Should the price of money in the marketplace not have some impact on it? And what we're simply saying is tie it to a very predictable, transparent number. The 10-year cost of borrowing money plus 3%. You see, Mr. President, unlike throughout the 90s and half of 2000s, we don't have private sector competition against the government model. We decided that having financial institutions come in and offer more attractive interest rates or waiving origination fees or the administration fees of a student loan. No, we didn't want that to happen, even though in many cases it saves students money. We said we want to centralize this in the federal government. We want to take over the whole thing. And then the Congress decided, you know what, we want to set the rates. Let me suggest to my colleagues, this is nothing more than a political tool right now. The last person we're trying to look at are the students or their families that actually need loans to send their kids to college. Today's vote is a defining moment. If we take advantage of passing one that structures this to where the rates that we set are out of congressional control and set by the marketplace in a predictable, transparent way, then this is sustainable. If it's not, this will be the subject of every 2 years in campaign rhetoric, where some win and some lose. I didn't come here to pick winners and losers. I came here to give equal opportunity and unlimited opportunity to the next generation and the generation after that. To suggest that only people who qualify for subsidized Stafford loans are the ones that should give favorable treatment to is ludicrous. And what we'd like to do is to provide a predictable mechanism to set rates, but one that doesn't pick winners and losers, one that treats everybody who's in the student loan need category the same. So I see that the ranking member is here, and I'm going to yield to him, but I do want to say to my colleagues, this is not just another 15-minute vote. You shouldn't feel good if you vote for one and vote against another and nothing passes, because we're going to be back here before July 1, and the likelihood is it's going to be presented to us in a way that we're not going to have an option of doing the right thing. They're just going to say, do you want to suffer the political consequences of letting the rates go from 3.4 to 6.8 on 39% of the American people? I would tell you that a parent borrowing money for their children today is just as vulnerable as a student that's qualified and borrows under a subsidized Stafford loan. I yield the floor.